Hi, everybody. It's Linda G, and Mel is here.
Hey,
Hi.
hi,
Hi.
hi, y'all.
I was just mentioning, doesn't he look tanned?
We were walking a couple miles every day or more,
Did
and
you
they were
lose
having,
weight?
yeah, I did actually. Well, I went on a diet before I left. I lost 10 pounds. And then there I was eating like there's no tomorrow, but you're walking in that heat and uh, lots of water, but you burn off the calories. But it was like 100 degrees one day, and there was a heat wave all through Europe.
Was it humid?
Yes. But not like in the South here, but you're on the Adriatic, so there's a breeze blowing, but it was still hot.
Yeah, it's 100 out here today
Wow.
in
Do you
Northern
guys do you have a breeze?
No breeze. It's dead still today, which is
Ooh.
good because when it's hot, you don't want you don't want any breezes.
Uh, part of Croatia though, we were on the yacht, so we were moving. And so if you were up on the deck, there was a nice breeze.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they have air conditioning there, but I don't know. It just doesn't, it's I don't want to say it's less effective, but it's just not as cooling as what it is here.
Right.
But Croatia is a beautiful country. People used to tell me to go, and I'd be like, for what?
Yeah.
And oh my God, it is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, but that walking 2 miles, that ain't for me.
Well, I mean, the whole thing with the tour was every day we would go to different villages. But people didn't want to. If people didn't want to go, they didn't have to. They could stay on the boat. I mean, people could lounge around on the boat, just whatever they wanted to do. Uh,
Okay.
we swam in the Adriatic a couple days.
What's that water like?
The Adriatic is the water is chilly, uh, but it's July. It was in July, so it had a chance to warm up. But when it's hot outside and you jump in that water, it is so refreshing, and people just loved it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it was neat.
Okay, my friend, here we go.
I had 27 people.
How many was your most that you get? 30 something?
I think I could have taken, I had 31 originally signed up, but 4 people canceled because they wouldn't get vaccinated. The company says you have to be vaccinated. So, and now I'm
Did
working
they
on,
know that when they got the reservation?
it was when they got the reservation, no, but it was changed. But don't forget, I started on this trip working on it in 2019. And I had 2 yacht tours going to Croatia in 2020, but they got canceled because of COVID. And then in 2021, I had a safari that got canceled due to COVID. So as of January the 1st of 2022, anybody that wanted to travel with this specific company had to be vaccinated. And a lot of travel companies are doing that. And if they wouldn't get vaccinated, unfortunately, they couldn't go.
Wow. Okay.
But most travel companies are doing that. And at that time, European countries, you had to show your vaccination card to get into that country. To come back to the United States, you had to test negative for COVID. If you tested positive, you'd stay quarantined. But it all changed in June. But you still had to have vaccination certificates.
Oh, wow. That
So,
they don't even have that here in the United States.
well, not to come back in, but now Croatia didn't need it, but going into Germany, they requested it. They didn't check ours, but before we left, I made sure that I had checked everybody's vaccination record, and I took copies of it. And I sent it to the company, so they knew that all the travelers were vaccinated.
Okay.
So,
And Lulu and Jack say hi. They had their beauty appointment today.
I'm sorry.
Lulu and Jack say hi. They had their beauty appointment today.
Everybody, please send healing energy to my great niece. Her dog Whiskey, she had to put down yesterday.
Oh, how old was Whiskey?
Around 10 or 11. Whiskey was a Great Pyrenees and just one of the nicest, sweetest dogs on the planet. And I was working this morning and she texted me a little video and she said that she had to put the dog down yesterday. So my great niece's name is Brittany. She's 29 or 30. She's a respiratory therapist and she's like my own daughter. And I just cried when she told me because that was the sweetest dog. So
Yeah, but they don't really die. But yeah.
she's coming to visit me. She comes to visit me a lot. and she's coming tomorrow night. And she goes, Uncle Mel, I'm not a hugger, but I'm going to need some hugs. So,
Oh, that was precious.
yeah,
Oh, you tell her we're all sending love. Tell her
I-
the Mel and Linda team are sending love.
she's going to come to Africa with us next summer.
Cool.
So,
That's
and
great.
she called me. She goes, Uncle Mel, will you go hillbillying with me? I go, what? She goes, there's a Willie Nelson concert in Chicago. She said, would you go with me? And I'm going, Brittany, I don't like those big crowds. She goes, oh, come on. She goes, it's something we can do together. And I said, all right, I'll go. So she told me to go.
Talked you into going. Don't forget your cowboy boots.
Oh, please. I'm wearing my Aloha shirts and shorts and lots of water. I'm
So
gonna,
I
I'm
had a
gonna,
dream that Liz Cheney, she's a little short thing,
yeah.
and she said she had lost her place in her to become a congresswoman again, but not to worry because she was going on to bigger things, and she smiled at me.
Well, she is going on to bigger things. I mean,
Is
that's
she going to lose then?
she probably will, but
That's what I asked my pendulum with my group the other day, and it was very no.
she wouldn't lose or she would.
She was going to lose.
Yeah, I think so too. That's what I felt. But I don't think that bothers her because, they have awakened a sleeping giant. And
She did the right thing.
She did the right thing. And your dream is accurate because she's going to go into bigger things.
She said that to me. I'm going on to bigger things.
I think she's considering running for president.
She could, but she won't win, but she could.
Well, I don't know. Well, she wouldn't win, no.
No, she wouldn't win.
But she's going to do bigger things.
I wouldn't doubt if Biden puts her in something next year.
Probably, but at some point, I mean, she's not done politically. She's just getting started.
She's just kidding. So Professional Aquarian wrote, and this is an interesting question. Okay. A prosecutor who resigned from the case has finally talked publicly about the Manhattan DA letting charges dropped against DJT. It feels like something is growing from this interview and the case is not dead astrologically. Could Bragg suffer consequences from his decision? Could charges coming down in other jurisdictions inspire him to bring these back? Could New York's governor appoint a special prosecutor? Thank you.
Well, I had said when this guy took office that, and when he said that he was dropping the Trumping or whatever he said, my guide showed me that it wasn't over.
Yeah, it's not over.
I see that guy out of office, by the way.
The one they just got in?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got a feeling whoever asked that's a good question, actually, because I have a feeling that that the governor of New York will appoint a special prosecutor.
Sounds right.
Because my guides kept telling me that women would bring Donald Trump down, but also the New York thing would as well.
Okay. I love it.
Notice I said women.
Here's another good question. Connie Pratt. She said, I love Mel and Linda's Mondays. Well, it's actually Tuesday.
Thank you. Well, it's Tuesday night, but we'll be back on regular schedule.
On regular schedule next week on Mel's channel. Question. Do people who listen to and followed Rush Limbaugh who have passed still believe in his message?
Some do, absolutely. The same as the small group of Trumplicans, drank that Kool-Aid and they're going to be Trumplicans. Rush Limbaugh was very divisive. And I don't think he went to the highest level of light at all. He's stuck.
Oh, okay.
He's stuck on the earth plane because he has to right or try to right those wrongs that he created.
Right. Well, they made stuff up just for, like that guy that's right now, and the judge just talked to him. What's his name? Alex Jones. She said, sir, just because you believe it's right doesn't make it true.
It's true.
He's trying to act all innocent. He's going to get hit big.
Oh, huge.
He's going to get hit big. And they had all those parents up there. I want you to know my son was real and I'm really his mother.
Wow.
And it's just, why would he did it to make money, they're saying now.
Of course.
He
It was
started
all
getting money, and these families are saying their lives were, people were threatening their lives. Oh my God, that's so awful.
horrible. There's a lot more stuff that's going to come out.
Okay, oh, good. Okay, oh, this is a good one. Question, since Trump, this is from Justine, since Trump buried Ivana in the Trump National Golf Club, do you think this will be a permanent burial site for the rest of the Trump family? How do Ivana's children really feel about this? Will Trump attempt to take part of the millions Ivana left behind? Thanks, Mel and Linda.
I just thought of something that's really bad.
What?
It's really tacky. Yeah, she was buried there in the golf club, probably in a golf cart.
No, she was cremated.
I know. I'm sorry to pass it off.
Oh my gosh.
What if they put her ashes in a golf cart?
I really feel she was a grown woman who was married more times
Oh,
than
yeah.
Trump. She was married a couple of times herself.
Well,
Why
she had
didn't she have her own estate and told everybody what she wanted, what her wishes were?
Well, she had a lot of, I mean, she was as narcissistic almost as Donald. She
That's
was,
what I was feeling, that it was all about. That's why they still talk, because they understood each other.
correct, because they were almost two alike.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he's going to be able to take any of her millions. I'm sure it'll go to her children, but I'm sure I don't know, she might have screwed them over too in her will.
I think she sent it to the grandchildren.
She did. That's what I thought, because her kids didn't get as much as they thought they would.
They thought they were going to get a lot more, but she gave it to the children.
Correct. So,
especially with that Donald.
And it was put in irrevocable trust, so the kids, they could get a little of it, but
Yeah, I felt very strongly that she had given it towards the kids. She's not worried about where she's buried. She could care less. It's almost kind of silly where they buried her.
I mean, if she was cremated, who cares, right? Where they
Yeah,
buried.
she's
Even
not,
when you're
she's
dead,
not tripping. She's not tripping.
No.
So
As long as it's not next to Donald, she'll be okay.
yeah, I think he plans on being buried on, he's going to lose everything. So they might have to move her body.
Well, he is going to lose everything.
Okay.
Because portion thereof, you're right.
Oh, here's a good question from Debbie. Will we Ohioans have to endure another term with Jim Jordan, who has done nothing for a while?
I see Jim Jordan being investigated.
Right. Now, he's not coming up this year, right? He's coming up next year.
Next year, I think. So, but I don't see him getting reelected.
Good. That's the question.
I don't see him
I feel the same way.
I see him gone.
Something's coming
I have
up.
a lot of legal issues too.
Yeah. Oh, Gina, she wants to know what will happen to the IG who let the ball drop on the missing text messages from the Secret Service.
Say that again.
What will happen to the IG who let the ball drop on the missing texts from the Secret Service?
Well, there was some more things wiped clean too from the Pentagon. I just read about it. There was
Yeah, but this guy, the IG, he didn't tell them to save your messages till way after. He knew that, he instructed them to wipe it out. And then came back and said, oops.
Well, the Inspector General, but you know what? I think they're throwing him under a bus, because anybody in their right mind would know that you're not supposed to delete those text messages, even if it's personal stuff. They said because it's these agents talking to the girlfriends or their mistresses or whatever. They know better. They know better.
Yeah, I worked for a county hospital, and we were not allowed on company time on a company computer to write anybody.
That's right. That's right. So that's why they wiped them clean, because it reminds me of the Nixon years when they said that his secretary inadvertently erased like 20 minutes of tape. So the Inspector General, he's going to be called to task for that. And he's going to be in hot water as well.
Oh, there was a lot of Trumpsters in there. No wonder President Biden said, I'm not taking the Secret Service agents you guys are giving me, because they were from Trump.
You know what? My light bulb just went on.
What?
And oh, wow. Thank you, Spirit. When you were talking, I saw some Secret Service agents coming forward and testifying to the January 6th Commission and other things about those being erased and why.
Wow.
So there'll be informants from the Secret Service to come forward.
Okay. I love it. Okay, Mason Cat. Can you tell me if Southeast Texas, pretty much of the border of Texas and Louisiana, will have hurricanes this year?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah, I saw. But I saw on the border of Texas.
Correct. And we had seen a lot of flooding too in the West and also in the South. And look what's going on in Kentucky.
Oh, poor Kentucky. They had more rain. More people are lost.
Well, it's in the Appalachian Mountains, the Eastern Kentucky. And, that's a poor section anyway.
You see the Turtle talking about it a lot, feeling really bad, thanking President Biden for making it the first priority. But you don't hear nothing from Rand Paul, not a word.
Well, you mean Brillo head?
Mm-hmm.
I call him Brillo head. It's funny, I heard about that in Croatia. I didn't pay much attention to the news, but I don't know, I was fiddling with my iPhone one night and I came across flooding in Eastern Kentucky. And my grandmother was from the Appalachian Mountains. So,
Bigfoot is up in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah, there's a lot of big feet up there. People with big feet and small brains.
No, I think Bigfoot lives up there too.
I was being funny. I'm talking about the politicians up there, not the inhabitants up there are wonderful people.
Yeah,
I got to do my grandmother's accent. Let me see if I can get it. They talk like this. They sang when they talk. And she'd be like, it's hot in here, open a window. And I remember when I was in school and they were talking about minnows. And I said, no, it's minnows. My grandma and grandpa say it's minnows, and that's how you say it.
Okay.
Instead of saying that's his, she say that's his'n or that's hern. And then urine, is it urine? Not urine, but yours, urine. Be like,
okay, Julia, she wants to know, what can U.S. citizens do to get all the traitors in Congress who supported the sedition to get booted out?
What can the citizens do?
What can we do as citizens? I think we can vote in more Democrats, and then they will say, you did a seditious conspiracy, you're out of here.
It's V for vote and victory, you all.
Yeah.
And let our voices be heard. The same with this Roe v. Wade thing. Just because it looks like they won the battle doesn't mean they'll win the war. Roe v. Wade is not over. It will be reinstated. And so look at even all of the women, and even some Republican women who are just mad as hornets about the whole Roe v. Wade thing.
Do you think the Kentucky thing will go through? Oh, no, Kansas. Kansas is doing the first post-Roe abortion test.
Well, it's kind of
weird.
weird.
Kansas is going to vote if they think women should decide for themselves. Will that pass?
Well, it's kind of weird how they're voting on it. If you vote no, then that means you want the constitutional thing to hold up protecting abortion rights, however they've worded it. It's almost like, the ballot in Texas when Bush and Gore was like all crazy. My feeling is that the people in Kansas, a lot of the women are going to go out and vote and say that they want abortion rights. They want them.
They want them, yes.
Correct. So, but even if they vote to keep abortion rights for women in that state, because their governor is a Democrat, but they've got a super majority Republican legislative body. And I think that the repubes will find some way around it or try to. But I see that referendum, I see it coming out in the favor of women's rights. What do you think?
I thought it would win. I thought it would win for women. Okay, this is from Barb. Will the new COVID BA variant vaccine out this fall finally lead to the beginning of the end of COVID?
Well, if everybody would have gotten vaccinated in the beginning, it wouldn't
I
have.
know,
The virus
but that
wouldn't
wasn't
move.
going to happen.
I know, and there will still be the anti-vaxxers and blah blah blah. But
I see the end of COVID coming
so
in
do
next
I.
year. Yeah.
It'll be endemic. Endemic means it's there. Like the flu's endemic, but it doesn't mean everybody's going to get it. But that will be the end of it. Yes, thank God.
Okay. Here's
But
another question from Roger. This question probably be good for Sterling too. I've heard over several years that the U.S. military has created the ability to time travel.
well, yes and no. I think they were doing experiments on protons and things like that, where one would kind of predict what the other one was doing before it happened. So that was kind of like time travel, but it was for a nanosecond. It was like
Okay.
really, but they are working on stuff like that. But I don't think that they can send somebody back in time at this point. No.
Okay.
It'd be an interesting though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, here's a good one from Angie. Scientists have found 27 different species of pre-humans. Why are modern men's the only one that survived?
Well, that's not true. What Darwin said, he didn't say that we descended from apes. He did not say that at all. What Darwin said is that modern humans and anthropoid apes like gorillas and chimpanzees, that we all had a common ancestor and we all split off on our evolutionary paths. That's what he said. He didn't say we evolved from monkeys. He didn't say that at all.
Okay.
And so there were pre-humans that they found in the Olduvai Gorge in Africa. I think it's called Australopithecus afarensis.
Damn, he's smart.
And there was one Lucy. She was an Australopithecus.
I remember Lucy, yeah.
And so now there was just a discovery of even another link. So along that evolutionary tree, there could have been this species of pre-human, this species of pre-human, this species of pre-human, and they all kind of evolved separately. And I think that's what.
It's so weird because even in embryo, a lot of species look just like a human embryo looks like a lot of species.
Well, I think is it called.
Unknown caller.
Sorry.
There's a word for that. It's like something reciprocates autogeny. So basically what it says is that an embryo goes through all of its evolutionary stages before it becomes what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So if you look at like a human embryo, it's got a little tail and it looks until it comes into, looking like a human.
Looks like, yeah. What do they call them? Gaynoid, godnoid, something like that.
Phylogeny reciprocates autogeny, or maybe it's the other way around. Autogeny reciprocates phylogeny. I forget, but anyway.
Right. That's so cool.
I might on anthropology and sociology and whatever I could think of in folklore, but we studied it in that years ago. So.
Oh, wow. You sure have a good memory. Olivia, she wants to know, are they still testing seaweed to cure cancer?
That I don't know.
I haven't heard anything about it.
I haven't heard anything about that, but I do think that in our lifetime, they will have cures for certain types of cancer, because cancer is just not one disease, it's a whole group of diseases. And so I think with monoclonal antibody research and all of that stuff, it's going to be really promising. Even with this viral, with the vaccine stuff with RNA, they can use some of that for cancer research, and they're doing it.
Cool. Kathy said, when I was 5, I had a neighbor boy looked in the window of our favorite neighbor. We saw her napping in her chair, flanked on each side were 2 young men dressed in clothing that would have been from another era. And for sure, another country. I know my friend saw it too. We live in Illinois. What did we see?
Oh my God, she had foreign boyfriends. I
Two
hope they were
young,
good.
she definitely saw ghostesses.
I hope they were good looking.
I'd wonder, like, did she live long or?
No, you know what? I think they were probably seeing her spirit guides. You
I
don't
don't
think?
feel that, no.
What do you think?
They're two young men dressed in period pieces.
Oh, they were two young men. Oh, I see. I'm sure they were spirits.
But they feel visiting for sure, like they were just visiting.
They were visiting, but the question is, why were they visiting?
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if they were ready to bring her cross her over or something.
That's what I'm wondering too, but she didn't say she died soon after, so.
Hmm.
Because I would have thought they were somebody coming to get her. But normally it's kinfolk, close kinfolk, not
Right.
from a different age and time. So is Nancy Pelosi or is the United States going to get any repercussions for going to Taiwan?
Oh, it's starting already.
What are they doing?
Well, I just heard on the news that China is really angry because she went to Taiwan, but I don't understand China's anger. Why would they be mad because she went to Taiwan?
And we asked China not to give any help to Russia. Did they listen to us? No.
No. And that's exactly why China's mad. And I think behind the scenes, China was thinking, well, if Putin invaded Ukraine, why can't we invade Taiwan? And I think Nancy Pelosi went there to give China the middle finger and said, don't even think about it.
But what's interesting is that the Republicans are for her too.
Correct.
Which scares me also. When I saw Pompeo up there saying she has every right to go to China if to Taiwan if she wants, I thought, oh, does he want an international incident? Will this start an international incident?
No, I think China that's their way of trying to interfere in the midterms, but I don't really see much happening except they're just going to blow some hot air. But it's funny. I just saw a thing for national security that the chief of the UN says that we're just one little miscalculation away from nuclear war.
Oh, yes, we sure are.
And he's saying it's worse now than what it was at the height of the Cold War, the Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, you have Putin threatening to use nuclear weapons.
All the time, though. We're getting tired of him threatening. He's the same
Well,
as that rocket man.
Well, look what he threatened if he said if Finland and Sweden would join NATO, that he would deploy nuclear weapons. They joined, and he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, well, it's the end of them, too.
Right, exactly.
China has to be careful because it's the end of China, too.
Well, when you start pushing buttons, you could annihilate the whole.
But let me tell you something. I told everybody that I saw Jim, whatever his name is, the North Korean leader, that he had died. And if you look at the new guy that represents him, it's a different guy.
Really?
It's a totally different guy. And last night or Sunday night, 60 Minutes was talking about, that guy that looks just like Tom Cruise?
Right.
Talks anyway, how they can manipulate your face.
Right.
I said, that's what they're doing. They're adding another face because it's not him. I guarantee you it's not him. This guy's way younger, and Kim Jong-un is a chain smoker, drinker.
Well, they can use computer technology to do that too. Like in one of the Star Wars movies, they brought back, oh God, what was his name?
Carrie Fisher?
Carrie Fisher, but also the other guy. He played as Dr. Van Helsing in the Dracula movies. I can't think of his name, but it looked like him, exactly like him, but it was a computer. Almost, I don't want to say animation, but it was computerized.
Right.
Peter something or other. It's on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it.
I know, I do that all the time.
Oh yeah, well, welcome.
You know what usually helps me remember is chocolate.
Peter Cushing, that was his name.
Peter Cushing's okay.
And he was in
I never watched Star Wars, so.
Oh, I did. But when they did the last one, they had he was playing the character he played in the original Star Wars, but he's been dead for years. And so that was a computer animation. You couldn't tell it was an animation.
But they're also worried that they could do an animation of like President Biden starting a nuclear war, saying something to start trouble, which isn't him. So
I don't think that'll happen.
They can't even copy your voice. Watch it. 60 Minutes did a little thing on it. Okay, Lizzie. Oh, this is good. She loves us both, by the way.
Oh,
She
thank you.
said she does love me more.
I'm jealous.
I'm just kidding.
I'm taking a number.
Okay. Will the case
She
going,
loves you more right now.
okay. Will the case going before the Supreme Court in October, overturning the popular vote and allowing state legislators to choose the winner, will this be precedent? Will this be the precedent that would end our democracy? It would end our democracy.
As crazy as the Supreme Court is, I don't think they're gonna interfere with people's rights to vote.
They can't, and they know they can't. It's constitutionally impossible for Roe versus Wade. They can tap dance on that, but this they can't.
And I'll tell you who's going to stand up, even if like the Trump appointed justices voted for what we're talking about. But I still think Chief Justice, what's his name? Roberts, he would say, absolutely, I am not going along with this. In other words,
can't he say no and end it right there or no?
Well, I think they have to hear the arguments, but he would vote to uphold voter rights and not allow a state legislator to overturn an election just because they didn't like the results.
There's got to be one other that votes his way.
Correct. I don't think it'd be Clarence Thomas.
No, it could be Kavanaugh.
I think it might be Gorsuch.
Somebody that goes along with the Constitution.
Correct, because Gorsuch is a constitutionalist.
Okay.
I
do you
think
know who Carol Baskin is? Do you know who Carol Baskin? Carol Baskin?
Let me look it up.
Husband Don Lewis body ever be found?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Carol Baskin?
Carol Baskin?
Oh, hold on. Question. Will Carol Baskin's husband, Don Lewis, body ever be found?
Oh, I know. She's that big cat rescue lady that was on that show where the guy went to jail and he accused her of
Tiger King?
Yeah, right.
Her
Well,
husband was missing?
I think I don't think they'll ever find his body.
I don't think they'll ever find his body.
Because it was probably eaten by certain animals.
I feel like it's gone.
It is gone.
Okay, hi Mel and Linda. This is Giga. Do you see meat prices going down anytime soon?
Absolutely. Gas prices have come down. Look at gas prices.
Yeah, we're down to $5.60 now.
Here, some places are going down to $4 or something. And you and I had both said that.
It's going to come down, yeah. And California's giving out checks to all the people that have a DMV. Oh,
well,
no.
Right before the midterms, I see some kind of stimulus package coming.
Yeah.
So, yay.
I get this cut a lot of times. I don't know why time frames are so bad. I do see, what's his name? DiGiorno? What's his name? The guy from the postal office.
Oh, DeJoy.
Yeah, DiGiorno is what I call him. Everybody's saying, how much longer? Poor Lindy. She said, how much longer do we have to watch our U.S. Postal Service being undermined? And let me tell you, I'm doing these events and some people prefer to send a check. There's some people I never got it. There's some people I never got what they sent.
I don't understand why Biden just doesn't fire DeJoy and put somebody
else. He can't.
Oh,
he's not allowed to, but he was able to place other people in. And apparently a couple of more people or someone else is coming in December. Because I remember reading in New York Times or Washington Post, they said in December is when they'll probably be able to vote him out.
I have to figure out how they get rid of the Postmaster General. I have no clue.
But he got rid of, Biden was able to do an executive order because DiGiorno didn't want to buy gas. He wanted to buy gas trucks because they needed to revamp all their fleet. And Biden overruled them and said, nope, electric.
DiGiorno, it sounds like a spaghetti sauce.
He's
That
a little guy too. I could pick him up and throw him.
we can't call him DiGiorno. It's an insult to the Italians.
I know, our beautiful Italians.
How about
Okay,
DiGerko?
there you go. Here's a good one. Ethereal material. She's calling us her favorite dynamic duo.
Oh, thank you. Linda's the better part of the duo.
Oh, thank you, honey. I've been noticing a lot of high strangeness in the sky recently. I live in the outskirts of town. Am I seeing UFOs, UAPs? Question mark.
Wait, UAP, unidentified.
I don't know what that means.
I know what it means. I just can't think. Unidentified something. It's a new term for UFOs. So she's seeing what? I'm sorry.
She's seeing strangeness in the air, like something's going on. There's a lot of sightings going on right now, more so than ever.
She's talking about actual seeing, like
Craft.
lights or whatever. The answer is
Yeah.
yeah. Let me see UAP, unidentified something. I forget, it stands for something. I forgot what it means. UAP. Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Okay.
UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. So I would say clearly she's seeing UAP, absolutely.
Okay.
What it is, I don't know,
Yeah.
but it clearly is unidentified aerial phenomenon, absolutely.
That's amazing. So, who was this other one I wanted to ask you? We did the cancer one. Accidentally lost my place.
Well, that happens to me.
So is cinema or cinnamon bun, I call her, is she going to throw a wrench in our ability to get the green bill going? The
The
one
what
that Manchin was Manchin was work. Maybe you were gone when that happened. Manchin and Schumer came up with a green, and all the Republicans were furious. Now they're calling Manchin names. He's a two-timer. He's this or that. They came up with a spending bill to help with the environment.
Well, I'm surprised that Manchin came up with that, but he knew he needed to do something because.
Well, this is what I got the other day when I was reading on it. Out of the blue, I see Schumer talking to him and telling him all the corporations that are going to help with this new Green Deal, all this stuff they're going to do. And that probably his state would be first in line for some of those, and he'd get a little cut. It was about money again.
And his state will be the first in line.
Right.
You're right. To benefit from, to benefit from that, to get money to help green energy or whatever.
But it's all about money. It's not about doing the right thing.
Well, of course. It's not about the right thing.
But
no.
is Cinnamon Bun going to go along with him, or is she going to throw a wrench on it?
Well, Cinnamon, you call her Cinnamon. Her name is Cinema. I just take off the S and then you have her last name. So Mrs. Cinema minus the S, she'd try to throw a wrench into it.
She will.
But if they use the same tactic with her, like, your state gains something.
So are they talking to her yet? Because,
Right.
she always has to have a piece of the pie between
And
her
there's a little bit of payola in it for you, honey. In other words, get her palms greased a little bit. And they're already talking to her. Yes.
Okay,
Then she'll go along with it.
okay.
Because you and I had both said this is part of the Build Back Better, right? This whole
Right.
energy thing.
Right.
And we had seen it going through.
Right. Yeah.
And so
But fortunately with the midterms, we're gonna start, we won't need them anymore.
yep.
People were saying, did he smell what was going on? Could he tell that his voice is skin? That wasn't it. It was about money. I'm telling you right now.
It was totally about money.
So Catherine said she tested positive for COVID on 7/27, And after 5 days, I started feeling better. I tested positive today, day 6. Can you tell me what I can do to speed up my healing?
Well, you can still test positive for COVID after you've had it and feel better. Like my husband had it right before I left. And when he called me and told me he was coming home from work, I hung a mask on the back door. And I said, go upstairs because I'm not missing this trip. And so he would stay upstairs and I would cook and I would put a mask on, take food up to him. And but he tested positive for about 2 weeks, even though he was feeling much better. But it's
Okay.
weird with this string of COVID because it's a subvariant of Omicron. One day he felt great, his fever would break, and then the next day it would come back for a couple of days and he'd feel great again. So it was up and down.
Right.
The best thing to do to recover, lots of lemon or citrus fruit, lots of rest, Tylenol, lots of fluid. That's one of the best things you can do.
Right.
And just rest. So my feeling is her COVID will be gone within a few days.
Well, also, our president got it again, tested positive again. And my first husband, what's his name? Nicole's dad. He was sick, not sick. He got it, was a little under the weather, but not too bad. But he tested positive for over a month.
Yeah, you can. Well, I've got a note here. It says I took it before I left, actually, because I had 2 travelers who came down with COVID before we left and they couldn't go. So it said you can end isolation after 5 full days if you are febrile, fever-free for 24 hours without the use of fever-reducing medications, and your other symptoms have improved. Day 0 is the first day of symptoms. Day 1 is the first full day after symptoms developed. For those who test positive but have 0 symptoms, that means day 0 is the day of the positive test. So, if you're testing positive and if you don't have a fever, you should still wear a mask for 10 full days when you go out. But just because you're testing positive doesn't mean that you still have active COVID.
Okay. All right, my
I had
friend.
that sitting here for some reason. I didn't throw it out. I thought, why am I hanging on to this? Well, now I know why.
Right. This question of mine seems to be hidden on Sterling's page, hoping you can help answer. My question, I have found whenever I watch medium or psychics, they never ever refer to archangels as anything other those considered in biblical terms. And with all due respect, I mean the white version. I never hear anyone speak of seeing entities or figures from other religions. I never hear a psychic say, for example, pray to your angels, especially sun god Aura. Instead, they all tell you Archangel Michael. I like Michael, but I'm not saying Michael all the time. How come some mediums don't see any Egyptian god, Hindu god, spirit animals? Well, it depends on where you were raised and how you live. But listen, my energy forms I see, and I've explained it till I'm blue in the face, is always a light form. It's never any color skin. It's brilliant light. That's what I see, like in Cocoon. But so this person wants to know why we're not seeing Egyptian, indigenous, and all that.
Well, the answer is I do. I mean, you can have Egyptian spirit guides. I use the word archangels, spirit guides all interchangeably because I'm an old spiritualist from way back when,
Yeah.
I often talk to my Asian guide or my this guide or my that guide. But like yourself, a lot of times I just see the light color of the energy from that being or those beings. So, I respectfully disagree with the person who's asking that question because I just generally say my guides and I don't put any kind of ethnicity to it.
Okay.
Because they don't, they'll come to us in ways that we know. That's just the way they make their presence. And so it's not a racist thing or anything at all.
Right, right.
It's just, I
Yeah,
can,
I mean, if I, if I was from India, I would probably see more soul energy from that tribe.
correct. Like behind,
I see Hispanic, I see Native American, Native tribal people in
right,
spirit sometimes, but the higher realms, all I see is light.
correct. The higher realms, that's all it's going to be is light energy.
Right.
But like behind you right now, I see a man, and he's got this long beard, and he almost looks like a rabbi or teacher. And so he's right behind you. And I don't know if that's a guy, it feels like it, but he's very pious, but very
Well, my guides told me you can't get faces or names of guides. My guides told me that the angelic form of their names cannot be spoke by man. That there's a different voice that can be heard, and that they are, when they're actual guides in the realm, they're pure light.
correct. That's true.
So
But we give them names because we like to name things. And
yeah, we like to. Could people ask me what's the name? I say, don't even go there. I don't do that.
they come to us in human form too.
So I think he thinks all psychics and stuff must be racist.
Uh,
And that Michael is a white man. I have no idea. Being that I was from a atheist family.
well, Jesus would have been dark skinned because he was from the Middle East.
Yeah, but there's a long story to that. But yeah,
I know, but
it's a long story to that.
I got it.
Because he was a rabbi and he was married. So anyway, okay.
Well, you've got that rabbi standing behind you, dear, because
I got a rabbi standing behind me.
he looks rabbinical.
Really?
The man I see looks rabbinical. In fact, he's holding a scroll that looks like the Torah. I'll bet in a past life you were really like a high religious leader.
It's so funny because that gentleman that I'm talking to now, Thomas T. Moore, he wrote a whole bunch of books called The Gentle Way. And I had him on the show. People are going crazy for it.
I
But
saw
anyway,
that. Yeah, he's an older gentleman.
He said that he talked to his people over there, and they said I was going to be a big religious leader. I thought that was weird to use the name religious because, I was raised in atheism.
Well, I
I don't consider myself religious.
I didn't even watch the show. I mean, I saw you. He's when I say older, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I didn't get a chance to look at it. I just, when I put YouTube on, it just
It
came
showed
up.
up. Yeah.
I watched that. But, in a past life, I'm being shown that you were a religious leader and that you were a male. But it was a long, long time ago. And I'm really feeling that you were a rabbi because I'm seeing in this Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament, I think, Genesis,
Right.
Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And so there you go. So my feeling is that they're giving me a glimpse of your past life, but that person is also a guide in this life. So,
Wow.
yay.
Thank you. Well, my friend, we're pert near an hour took up here.
Pert near done.
Pert near done. I got to cook for my son.
We're going to start talking Southern
I'll
Appalachia.
see you next Monday, 10
All
o'clock.
right. 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock my time.
Okay.
And I will post it. I will have questions. I just didn't post anything because I just got back. And it's funny. I'm waking up at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning. And I still feel like I'm on the boat. I still feel like moving. It's like,
How long were you there? Was it 2 weeks or 1 week?
10 days. We were
That's a long time.
We were 2 days on the ground in Dubrovnik. One day we went down to Montenegro. That's beautiful. Dubrovnik is beautiful. And after 2 days on the ground, on land, then we got on the boat, on the yacht, and we were 7 days on the yacht.
Nice.
I had some YouTube people that came, and it was really fun. I didn't get a chance to do any seminars. I wanted to do 1 or 2. I did give a little talk because it was just so busy and everything was kind of like accounted for. But the most wonderful thing for me, and that's what I like about these trips, and that's why I call them psychic adventure tours, is because they're so transformative. You know, in the beginning, everybody's uptight. They're, oh, my computer, oh my God, like this, you know, like finger in a wall socket and can't get it out. But after day 3, people are just chill, laid back. They're being themselves. They're just who they are. Everybody's accepting everybody. And we have people from all different political persuasions, and
Awesome.
and everybody got along. It was so amazing because we put
Fantastic.
all that stuff aside and just had fun and laughed.
There
And
you go. That's great.
it was good.
All right.
All right, my dear.
Well, you guys, thank you guys for coming. We'll talk to you next Monday.
All right. Love you.
Thanks, Mel.